Let me ask you something most people are too afraid to even whisper. What if the world doesn't want you to be strong? What if it secretly wants you weak, obedient, easy to break? Because the moment your mind becomes unshakable, the moment you start thinking like Nietzsche, you stop being controllable. And that, my friend, is terrifying. Not to you, but to them. So ask yourself, do you want peace or do you want power? Because real power doesn't come from charm, money, or even connections. It comes from one place, a place most people are too soft, too scared, too civilized to go to. It comes from the mind that refuses to kneel. Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." But what he didn't say, what they never teach you in school, is that finding that why often begins in the darkest pit, where the weak scream and the strong go silent, where the average mind begs for comfort, but the superior mind asks for fire. Because it knows fire doesn't destroy it, it refines it. And if you don't build that kind of mind, one that frightens mediocrity, then let me be brutally honest with you. You will be manipulated, you will be used, you will be crushed by the weight of expectations that were never yours to carry. Because the world does not reward softness. Consumes it. So if you've ever felt like your mind is drifting, unfocused, easily rattled, if people have walked over you, lied to you, underestimated you, or ignored you, this isn't just a video, this is a weapon. And once you learn to use it, no one will ever see you the same again, not even you. But it starts with one truth most people deny. Your mind has been trained by fear. Not real fear, not the kind that protects you from tigers or cliffs, but manufactured fear, fear of disapproval, fear of being disliked, fear of being seen as too much or not enough. That you've been domesticated. Every time you hesitated to speak up, every time you wanted to act, but waited for permission, every time you swallowed your truth to keep the peace, you buried a piece of your fire, and they called it maturity. But Nietzsche didn't care for maturity. He cared for becoming what he called the Übermensch, the overman, the one who rises beyond good and evil to create his own values, his own meaning, his own fate. So the first shift, the first crack in the wall is this: you must break your agreement with weakness. And don't be fooled, weakness doesn't always look like crying or quitting. Sometimes weakness disguises itself as niceness, as people-pleasing, as overthinking. You can't build a terrifying mind while still hoping to be liked by everyone. The Übermensch doesn't care if you understand him. He doesn't even need you to. He's not here to blend in. He's here to become something the world has never seen. And that begins with rejection, rejection of the old self. You can't stay who you are and become who you were meant to be. It's going to feel like war. Because it is. It's the war between your comfortable mind and your powerful mind. And only one can survive. You see, Nietzsche wasn't just a philosopher. He was a mirror. He showed people the part of themselves they wanted to forget, the part that could become monstrous, not in a cruel way, but in a way that could no longer be ignored. He believed that to truly grow, you must be willing to walk through fire with your eyes open. Which brings us to the second foundation. You must fall in love with solitude, not loneliness, solitude, because most people are addicted to noise, to distraction. They're terrified of being alone with their thoughts. Because in that silence, the truth gets loud. And the truth is uncomfortable. Tells you what you've avoided, what you've denied, what you must destroy, and what you must become. But Nietzsche, he welcomed it. He walked for hours alone, thought deeply, spoke little, wrote brutally. He didn't drown himself in pleasure. He trained himself in pain. And that's what solitude is, it's training. When you can sit in silence for hours and not break, when you can go days without validation and still burn with purpose, when your worth is no longer dependent on attention, applause, or approval, you become dangerous. Because you become self-governed. And a self-governed man cannot be manipulated. He cannot be bought. He cannot be broken. Because he answers only to his own code. That's what terrifies people. They look in your eyes and see something they've lost or never had. They see conviction without arrogance, stillness without weakness, power without noise. And that is the mind Nietzsche lived for. But here's the irony. The deeper you go into yourself, the more isolated you'll feel. You'll notice people pulling away. You'll see friends become strangers, lovers become distant, Family question your changes. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're no longer making them feel comfortable in their weakness. And you need to be okay with that, because greatness is not a group activity. It's forged in the silence of your own rebellion, and this is only the beginning. The path you're about to walk will test every part of you. It'll make you question your worth, your sanity, your purpose. But when you come out the other side, you'll no longer chase strength. You'll be it. And from that moment on, the world will feel your presence before you even speak. Now let me show you what comes next. You've already felt it, haven't you? That growing gap between who you were and who you're becoming. You start noticing things. The way people talk just to be heard. The way they panic in silence. The way they shrink around truth. You hear conversations that feel empty. Advice that feels recycled. Smiles that hide envy. Compliments that carry poison. And the more you grow, the lonelier it gets. But don't mistake loneliness for weakness. This is what ascension feels like. You're not losing people. You're shedding layers. Because the stronger your mind becomes, the more allergic you become to mediocrity. And that's the third truth Nietzsche forces you to face. You must stop expecting average minds to understand your evolution. Stop seeking applause from people who are terrified of your potential. They don't hate you. They fear what you represent. Every step you take toward your own greatness reminds them of the steps they never took. And deep down, you know it. That's why they'll say you've changed, like it's an accusation. But yes, you have changed. You've stopped leaking energy into meaningless validation. You've stopped apologizing for your standards. You've stopped watering yourself down so others can feel tall. And when that happens, when your mind becomes fortified, people will project their fears onto you. They'll call you cold, arrogant, intense, distant. They'll say you're too much. But what they're really saying is, you make me see myself, and I don't like what I see. Let them talk. Because the fourth key to building an untouchable mind, a Nietzschean mind, is this: you must embrace voluntary suffering. Not masochism, not self-hate, but conscious confrontation with pain. Because Nietzsche didn't believe in avoiding suffering. He believed in using it. He saw pain not as punishment, but as transformation. That which does not kill me, he wrote, makes me stronger. But the modern world has twisted this truth into something cheap. They post it on gym walls. They quote it in motivational videos. But very few actually live it. Very few wake up and choose discomfort, choose isolation, choose to do the hard thing while no one is watching. Why? Because comfort is a liar. It tells you you're fine just the way you are. It whispers, relax, you've earned it. You deserve ease. But comfort never built empires. It never forged warriors. It never wrote philosophy that survived the centuries. You know what did? Deliberate, chosen, purposeful pain. The pain of waking up early while others sleep. The pain of studying while others party. The pain of telling the truth when it's easier to stay quiet. The pain of walking away from what's good to chase what's great. That's what builds the mind that cannot be rattled. And people will hate you for it. Not because they truly hate you, but because you remind them of everything they could be, but aren't. You are a mirror, and not everyone can stomach their own reflection. But you're not here to be liked. You're here to become undeniable. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor. Stoic, grounded, fierce, surrounded by backstabbers and chaos, and yet he never crumbled. Why? Because like Nietzsche, he understood, a mind ruled by emotion is a kingdom always on the edge of collapse. But a mind ruled by principle becomes a fortress. So let me ask you, what principles do you live by when no one is watching? What code do you carry when everything around you is falling apart? If you don't know, the world will write it for you, and their version will make you small. This is why Nietzsche urged us to become who we are. Because most people never do. They become what society expects, what their parents want, what social media rewards, but not you. You're here because something in you refuses to settle. You feel it, that hunger, that restlessness, that deep knowing that you were meant for more. And the only way to answer that call is to become dangerous. Not in violence, not in ego, But in presence, a dangerous man walks into a room and doesn't need to speak. His silence speaks for him. He doesn't beg. He doesn't chase. He doesn't prove. He simply is. That's the mind Nietzsche was sculpting. A mind that frightens weak systems and exposes false idols. But it comes at a cost. You will outgrow people. You will be misunderstood. You will carry weight most people avoid their whole lives. But here's the twist. That weight will become your wings. Because the more pain you can carry without breaking, the more influence you carry without trying. And the world will feel it. They'll whisper about your discipline. They'll envy your focus. They'll resent your freedom. But deep down, they'll respect you. And one day, maybe not today, they'll realize you weren't trying to be better than them. You were just trying to be better than who you used to be. So what comes next is crucial. You've cracked the shell. You've stepped into the fire. Now, it's time to become the fire. Look around you. Most people aren't living. They're sleepwalking. Automated. Programmed. Predictable. Their routines are loops. Their words are borrowed. Their minds, molded by algorithms, politics, and fear. But then there's you. You've started waking up. You've begun to see. Not just the world, but yourself, clearly. The game changed the moment you stopped asking, "What do people want from me?" and started asking, "What am I capable of?" And now the transformation begins. This part isn't glamorous. It's not inspirational Instagram quotes and dopamine highs. No, this is the underworld. The place inside you where your demons live, where your insecurities whisper, where your self-doubt clings to your spine like a parasite. But Nietzsche knew something most philosophers feared to admit. Your demons aren't enemies. They are untrained soldiers, waiting for a general. You don't kill them, you train them. You take the trauma, and you forge it into discipline. You take the rage, and you channel it into precision. You take the loneliness, and you mold it into self-sufficiency. Because every emotion you've been taught to suppress is just raw power waiting to be. Aim. That's what the Übermensch does. He doesn't run from his shadow. He studies it. He integrates it. He becomes whole. Carl Jung, Nietzsche's psychological successor, called this shadow work. But Nietzsche lived it before it had a name. He didn't preach morality. He crushed it. Because morality, to him, was often just the chain the weak used to bind the strong. He believed true strength comes when you stop living by other people's rules and begin writing your own. That's not rebellion. That's evolution. And here's where it gets terrifying. For them, you stop reacting. Someone insults you, you don't flinch, you lose money, you stay focused. You're alone for months, and your fire doesn't die. That kind of mind, it shakes people. Because the average person is emotionally fragile. They spend their lives defending their ego, chasing attention, avoiding offense. But you've killed your need to be liked, and that's where real power begins. You don't yell. You don't over-explain. You don't beg. You observe. You analyze. You calculate. You strike when necessary. And when you do, it's surgical. That's what happens when your mind becomes a weapon. But here's the deeper secret. You're not doing this for dominance. You're doing it because the world needs at least one person who can stay awake while everyone else is dreaming. Someone who can stand firm in chaos, not to control others, but to guide them by example, not by force. Because once your mind transcends fear, you don't just become powerful. You become peaceful. Not the soft kind of peace. Not numbness. But that fierce, grounded, I know who I am kind of peace. It radiates from you. Calms rooms. It silences egos. It turns enemies into observers. And ironically, it's in that silence that your true dominance is felt. Not through noise. Not through flash. But through presence. And when you reach that point, you won't crave revenge. You won't need recognition. You won't even need the world to understand you. You'll just smile. Because you'll know something they don't. That everything they tried to break in you only made you stronger. All the rejection, all the betrayal, all the nights you thought would kill you, they were training. They were sharpening the blade. They were chiseling the masterpiece that is your mind. And now you don't just carry pain. You wear it like armor. But don't get comfortable yet. Because here's the final truth Nietzsche hints at. the one almost no one is ready for. There is no finish line at no arrival. No final victory dance where the world hands you a trophy and says, "You've made it." No, the Übermensch doesn't seek closure. He seeks expansion. You may reach this peak, but the moment you settle, the moment you exhale and think you're done, your edge dulls, and the wolves return. So what do? You keep climbing. Not because you're not enough, but because you know you were built for the mountain. Because you've tasted the blood, the solitude, the divine madness that comes with pushing your mind beyond what others even consider possible. And now you're addicted to it. You don't want ease. You don't want comfort. You want truth. The raw, unfiltered kind. The kind you earn through scars, not stories. That's what Nietzsche left behind. Not a path, but a fire. And if you felt it burning in you, even just a flicker, then you already know. You weren't born to be agreeable. You weren't born to be safe. You were born to become something that cannot be ignored. And now you're becoming it. You've come this far. Through the shadows. Through the silence. Through the parts of yourself no one talks about. You've faced the abyss. And something inside you didn't run. That alone makes you rare. But don't expect applause. There's no parade for those who walk the hard road. Because most people are terrified of what you're becoming. Not because you're evil, but because you're free. They see it in your eyes, that focus that doesn't flinch, that calm that doesn't shatter. It makes them uncomfortable, because it reminds them of the power they gave up. But you didn't just survive. You adapted. You learned. You sharpened your mind until it could cut through lies, illusions, and weakness. And now you're a different species, not above people, just beyond their games. You see through fake authority. You're immune to manipulation, and most of all, you've become someone who can't be owned. That's the kind of mind Nietzsche feared and admired. A mind that answers to no master. A mind that doesn't crumble under pressure. It pressurizes others simply by existing. It's not arrogance, it's self-possession. That subtle force that says, "I know what I am, and I know what you are, and I will not be moved." But here's the paradox. The more powerful your mind becomes, the quieter you grow. Because power doesn't scream. It doesn't beg to be seen. It radiates. You don't talk about discipline. You embody it. You don't post about solitude. You breathe it. You don't shout your vision. You build it, brick by brick, while others debate in comment sections. That's what truly terrifies people. Not your words, not your muscles. Your stillness. Because stillness means control, and control means unpredictability. The modern world can't handle the unpredictable. It needs you to be defined, labeled, categorized, owned. But your mind has transcended that. You've become a question mark in a world addicted to periods. And that's why Nietzsche's final truth is the most dangerous of all. There is no external enemy greater than your own untamed self. And now, you've tamed it. You've turned your emotions into fuel. You've turned your solitude into strength. You've turned your suffering into strategy. And you walk with a calm that people mistake for luck because they'll never understand the storms you've mastered. Inside, let them wonder. Let them talk. Because you know what they don't. You are no longer a product of your environment. You are the force that bends it. You are no longer prey. You are the strategist. And this world, with all its noise, weakness, distraction, it has nothing left to teach you. Now you teach it. With how you move. With what you don't say. With the results you manifest from silence. So here's what I'll leave you with. The most dangerous man in the room is not the loudest. It's the one who has mastered his mind so deeply he no longer needs the room. That's you now. And the world, it won't know what to do with you. But it will feel you. Always. So if this resonated. If something inside you shifted during this video, good. That wasn't motivation. That was remembrance. You're not becoming someone new. You're returning to who you were always meant to be, before the world deluded you. Now go finish what you started. And if you're one of the rare few who made it to the end, prove it. Drop a comment with, "I'm not afraid of myself anymore." Like the video if it awakens something. Subscribe if you're done hiding your power. And if you're ready to go even deeper, watch the next video. Because this is only the beginning. You haven't seen the full extent of your mind's power yet. And neither have they.